Hello lovely friends, and a very warm welcome to another Lavinia Stamps video with me, Lisa Taggart. It's that time of year when I get to make Halloween projects, my favourite. This one's called Witchery, and if you want to see how it's created, just keep on watching. So we're beginning off with our hot press watercolour card, 7x7 or 18x18 centimetres. I've taken a ruler, I've drawn a line 7 centimetres from the bottom, which is about 1/3, and I've also measured 9 centimetres in the centre where the witches are going to go. I wanted to keep above their heads fairly clear of ink, so I'm going to begin, and this time we're going to use our stencil brushes. This is the largest one. I'm going to wipe some of the ink off because I really want to sort of have a gentle layer, well blended, of this colour in Sahara. So as you can see, I'm doing this in circular motions, wiping off the ink before I add it to the page, and using the brush to sort of slide gradually onto the page. I want it to be fairly well blended. It's an under layer, and so what I want is for this colour to peek through. It's all about, in mixed media, building up the layers, and you know, very often it's what's peeking underneath that makes all the difference. So this is where we begin with this sort of nice golden yellowy colour, and then I'm going to gradually build it up with all the other ink pads and make it mistier and murkier as we go along. Now, as you can see, I'm building up with this time the graphite colour, and I'm allowing the ink to go in the bottom third of the painting, but I'm leaving above the line in the centre clear of ink to create sort of the light effect. I'm moving on to the orange colour, the russet orange, and this time, instead of going above the line, I'm mostly keeping this colour to the bottom of the page and just adding touches of it here and there. I might go above the line slightly, just in the middle corners. Yes, there you are. And just to warm it up a little bit. The other thing to let you know is that very unusually I'm not drying between layers. I'm allowing the inks to blend and do whatever they want to do by not drying in between, and this is the case even when I'm now starting to add the oxiding. And the purpose of this is to start the scruffy layers and to add that smoky effect and that sort of hint of background foliage and mist and goodness knows what in a Halloween picture. So it's really a question of this time the strokes are up and down instead of in circular motions and across the way. Just to add a variety of marks, and don't worry too much about getting little blobs this time. Now that we have the base of the other two colours, that's a beautiful start to start building up then this murkiness. And I love mixing the Distress Oxide colours with the other elements ink. I think it adds beautiful texture, and you'll see the difference that it makes. And then I'm going to go on and add pan pastels on top of that, just to keep building, keep having the under layers peeking through, and gradually building the scene up. And you see I've moved on to the Lost Shadow colour, which is a paler colour than the previous one, and I put the dark grey on first so that the paler one shows up a little bit better, and it's the start of the mist. And when we move on to the pan pastels, you'll see that adds to this, particularly the white. I should say also that I'm using the medium size stencil brush at the moment, and I'm sort of going between different sizes depending on how large I want the marks. And now next up, I'm adding more oxide this time to warm it up a little bit again in the wild honey colour, which is adding some sort of light into it. So just keep going with it and have fun and see what happens. Now in this next part, I'm using this little makeup brush to get these sort of finer lines. If you don't have a little makeup brush like this, use the very small size of the Lavinia Stamps stencil brushes. They would do just the same, but mine weren't to hand, so I just lifted this instead. But either would do. Now the background's more or less complete, and I decided to spray it with some fixative just so it all settles down before the stamping. And I'm just going to take Nocturne for all of the stamps and put those in place. I'm now going to stamp the little pumpkins, and I want two of them and one behind the other. So I'll stamp the one in the foreground first of all, and then I've cut out from the masking sheet this little cover for that one, and then I can stamp over the top and peel away then the little mask and have them like so. So I've taken my pan pastels out again, this time just the black and the white, and I thought I would add some definition to the witches in the centre just to bring them to life a little bit. They are in silhouette because they're in front of the light, but it'd be nice just to add some very loose definition to the folds on their cloaks and on the top of their hats, and also of course to add a shadow underneath. And again, it's all part of the process to make the whole foreground murky with shadows and mist. Next up, as you can see, I restored some of my orange from the pan pastel just with my finger, put a few wee pops here and there. And now I'm going to start the colouring process of the tree and the pumpkins. I've just added like a dark grey and I'm taking the blender pen just to blend that across. Nothing too fancy with the tree, just adding a little bit of definition there so it doesn't get lost because it is reasonably in the foreground. And then I'll move on to the little pumpkins. Now, in terms of the pumpkins, there are lots of different ways you can approach them. You could mask them off completely before starting the whole project and then remove the masking fluid and you would have white card to colour in. The other way of doing it is once they have been stamped, you can paint them with white gesso and then colour over the top. That's another good way of doing it. But I decided not to do any of those things for this project. I wanted the pumpkins to look sort of almost vintage and dark, so I deliberately allowing the what colour I do have to blend with the background colours and create again this kind of murkiness that we have going on in the foreground. It's kind of mirrored in how I'm going to colour the pumpkins. So I'm using my range of oranges that I have, and then there's a yellowy sort of brown to do the shadows. And if they're dark, it means that when you colour the eyes in with bright yellow, which I'm going to do shortly, it means that they glow a little bit better. So that's how I'm approaching it. I did find in my set of Sig Clean markers like a fluorescent orange, and you'll see that shortly, and that did brighten things up a little bit, particularly in the centre of their faces, so that was good. I wonder, is that it now? It might be. And that helped brighten that up a little bit, but you really don't see how the pumpkins pop until you colour the centre of the eyes in. So they've all been coloured now much the same way. I also took my orange sparkle pen and added that to the tops for some twinkle, but it's optional because, as you'll see later on, I put some stickles on top and you don't really see that in the end up. It just depends what you have in your stash. And here I'm just using the Hansa Yellow pan pastel just to add in a hint of reflection from the eyes. Again, this is optional. And now I'm doing some very rough indeed, little grassy, scrubby bits with my white gel pen. You can use your white Posca pen, whatever you have. And I'm sort of adding them in a very scruffy way, and then I'm going to use my finger and pare them back a little bit so they're not as bright. And then I'm going to take a black pastel pencil or a black colouring pencil, again whatever you have, and add some black in to that mixture as well, and along the horizon line too. So friends, that's the project complete, and just off camera I took goldenrod in stickles and added that, and it really does twinkle, this one. I haven't used this in years, and it's actually a very good one to use. As you can see, they're really highlighted. I also forgot to mention that I coloured in the lantern and the little ball thing on the other side, and also added some highlights to the witches' hats and the trees, and just a few touches here and there. It doesn't take very much, as you can see, it's very bright. And it's all come together. I hope you enjoyed this week's project and you'll have a go yourselves. Really looking forward to see what you create with these lovely new release stamps. And of course, until next time, take very good care of yourselves. But above all, get creating, be brave, and do enjoy the adventure.